Really quick, Alex. Can you finish this sentence for me? Game 7 is.
Tomorrow night.
No. What does Game 7 mean to you?
Um, when I think of Game 7, I think of, at least in the finals, I think of San Antonio, Miami, and I think of Lakers, Celtics.
How blessed is it to play here in such an important game, and how can you use that to your advantage in a must-win situation for both?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a reward for playing through the regular season how we did. You know, having the depth and the team that we do to win that many games, to be able to have home court. Yeah, I'm excited to play here. No place I'd rather play for do or die game to do.
Alex, we've talked about pressure on players in Game 7. Is there any pressure on Mark tomorrow night? The coach's best, make the right adjustments, right rotations, those things?
Yeah, but I mean that's a small percentage of the game. I think it's largely decided by the players. Obviously, a good game plan and adjustments are necessary, but I'd say a large majority of that is just the players playing the game.
Alex, what are you learning about the Pacers now having played them in 6 games in the series?
Kind of everything we looked at when we came in. They're a really good team. They ran to the East how they did, not by luck. They play their brand of basketball. They have talented players and they play together, and they have a really strong belief in themselves. And that's why this series is 3-3. It's why they're in the NBA Finals. They're going to play Monday.
They made that tweak to reduce pressure, which in turn tweaked things a little bit. What stood out to you about that defense that kept you guys kind of out of the paint and getting downhill as much as you guys do usually?
Yeah, switch up from how they've been playing the first couple games. More in line with how Denver kind of played us and how Minnesota played us coming in. And I still we just didn't do a good enough job adjusting to that and trusting the way that we've played previously live in the course of the game. But I think to that point, we've seen every attack defensively this year, whether it be for Shea, Dub, the whole team. People play aggressive, people play soft, they play zone, that trap, just sit back and plug. So really, we're prepared for whatever it is. It's just about going out there, recognizing the right one, and then taking the ring drive.
You've played in finals before, and you've played in Game 7s before, but not both like tomorrow. Does it feel any different for you going into it? How do you try to keep yourself even-keeled for a moment like that, Russ?
Yeah, I think, you try to make it as binary as possible. Like, you're either going to win or lose. That's literally what is going to happen. The season's going to be over. You're going to be champion, or you're going to lose, and you're going to start square one. So you might as well go out there and put your best foot forward and compete your ass off and play hard for your teammates to try and win.
What advice are you going to Coach Mark in this moment?
He's just telling us to really just be ourselves. I think when we've done that through the year and we play the way we play, strong defensively, moving the ball with pace offensively, we're a really good team. That's why we won 68 games. That's why we won 15 games to this point in the postseason. In order to win one more, we need to be ourselves at a really high level.
Is there more pressure on you guys just because it is here for Game 7?
I mean, I don't think so. I don't think location matters for pressure's sake. I think the pressure of the moment is just that everything you've put into this year to grow through the regular season, training camp, postseason. The pressure might be just like not wanting to waste that. But at the end of the day, like I said, like you're either gonna win or lose. Like that's the reality of the situation. So we go out there and you play your best and you play as hard as you can and you let the chips follow them in.
What do you think are going to be like those minor details that are going to make like that big game difference?
Yeah, I mean, there will always be a couple of plays through the game that make it, a couple loose ball recoveries, offensive rebounds, challenges at the rim, instead of giving up layups. They'll be sprinkled out throughout the game where there'll be about 10 possessions here or there that'll be decided, which will impact the game. And, you just try to make sure that you're ready for it, and whatever the moment calls for, you're ready to do it.
Pascal always flies under the radar, maybe just because of how balanced this group is. What does he do that just has been so effective and important to what the Pacers have done this season?
Yeah, he's a versatile player. He shoots well enough. You have to guard him out there. He's great off the dribble. He's like 6'8". His wingspan's probably 7 foot, if not a little bigger than that. And he moves well. He's active defensively. Like, he's a very complete basketball player. He does a lot of different things in the game. Whereas, some players in the league are, their buckets filled with one or two categories where, I think he does a lot of different things, and his size and athleticism complements. So, thank you.
Questions all?
Everybody talks about how unpredictable Game 7s can be. You gotta forget about statistics, everything that happened prior to that. How much do you believe that? Like, is that true, or you gotta take some from what happened?
A little bit of both. I mean, you never know what can happen. It's one game. You never know who can get hot or some happens. But it's a big game. It's a big challenge, and then we know that we got to give it our all, and then we'll go out there and compete it, and then do our best to win a game.
Are the nerves different going into Game 7 and Game 1?
I mean, it's a mix of nerve. Like I said, it's Game 7. It's a big challenge. You know that if you win, you'll be happy for a long time. If you lose, you'll be mad for a long time. So we gotta go out there. We gotta block all the distractions and just go out there and play our best and give us our best chance.
How do you compartmentalize the fact that you guys have that even kill 0-0 mentality, but at the end of the day, you could win a championship, and the anxiousness of winning a championship means a lot.
Yeah. Like I said, we gotta. Before that feeling, we gotta take care of one game, and then we just gotta face that game first, and give it our best, give it our all, and then after that, we'll be happy with the result. Ouais, c'est ça. I mean, on est deux bonnes équipes, puis c'est bon non seulement pour les fans, mais pour la NBA d'être capable de voir un match numéro 7. C'est sûr que c'est un des matchs les plus durs dans le sport, mais on doit aller avec confiance puis être prêt à compétitionner.
Vous parlez dans la série que c'est plus facile d'apprendre d'une défaite, d'appeler que le basket c'est un sport d'ajustement. Est-ce que tu es confiant que ce que vous avez vu sur le film, que vous savez quoi faire?
Ouais, c'est ça. Mais il y a plusieurs trucs qu'on n'a pas fait le dernier match qu'on peut s'améliorer dessus. Toutes les affaires qu'on a vues, c'est des affaires qu'on peut contrôler. Puis on se connaît, nous, comme équipe. On sait qu'on s'ajuste très bien à des affaires qu'on fait mal le match d'avant. So, on doit juste retourner demain, puis s'ajuster, puis nous donner la meilleure chance de gagner le match.
Mais comment ça te semblait pour toi de vivre ce rêve d'enfant, les finales, les émotions qui vont avec?
Ouais, c'est un gros rêve. C'est sûr que, travailler fort pour arriver jusqu'ici, puis il reste un match pour être un champion à vie. Mais, on doit juste face le match qui est devant nous, puis faire tout notre possible de gagner le match.
Et tu arrives à profiter ou le stress est trop grand?
J'arrive à profiter quand même. Je dois être grateful. C'est gros quand même. Tu es sur le terrain, tu vois des signes de finale partout, puis ça montre juste comment j'ai travaillé fort toute ma vie pour arriver à ce stade-là. Mais non, je suis content, puis je sais que ça va être un bon match demain.
Et avoir cette opportunité de jouer un match 7, c'est une opportunité que très peu de joueurs ont. Comment ça le rend encore plus spécial? Et qu'est-ce qu'il a fallu pour toi pour arriver jusque-là?
Ouais, mais ça va être vraiment spécial. C'est sûr qu'il n'y a pas autant d'équipes qui sont arrivées jusqu'ici. Ça démontre juste que on est deux bonnes équipes qui va arriver ici, puis qu'on va vraiment bien compétitionner. Puis c'est beaucoup pour moi. J'ai travaillé fort toute ma vie pour arriver dans ce stage-là ici aujourd'hui. So, demain, ça va être un bon show. I mean, they never give up, and then they'll always give us their best punch, and then a lot of credit to them. They play really hard, they play really physical, and then they're in this position for a reason. So we got to go out there and compete at the highest level.
In what ways have you enjoyed this chess match defensively, of how both of you have mixed things up and had success?
It's been good. I mean, that's what the playoffs is about. You adjust all the time. You're never gonna see the same look every time, and then we knew that not every single game was gonna be the same. We knew that we was gonna face different looks, and then now we just gotta adjust and then go out there and compete.
What's it going to take to close the door on these guys tomorrow?
Compete highest level. We got to do it together, and then if we do those type of stuff, it's really hard to beat us.
Historically, Game 7, the home team has a huge advantage. You guys have worked all year to have the best record in the NBA for this purpose.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys
play to feed off the crowd, use that to your advantage?
Yeah, I mean, we always use the crowd, to they always give us a lot of energy, and then we love them for that. And then, like I said, we gotta block the noise and all the stats and all those type of stuff. We just gotta go out there and do our best to win the game. But we work hard to get to this point and have the home court advantage, and we're happy that we get the game, at home.
What's Pascal Siakam's had a pretty solid series, game by game. What's been, why haven't you been able to slow him down the way you have with some of the other guys?
Yeah, he's a good player. Real aggressive. He's been in that position before. He's been spending a lot of playoff games, so he knows how to attack, and he's a really smart player. We just gotta match the physicality. Honestly, we got a lot of great defenders. We know that we got a lot of guys to stop him and their whole team. So we just gotta go out there and compete.
Have you had any communications with Andrew or Ben during the series?
No. I mean, we know that the season's going to end at some point during the year. So, it's you go out there and, it's like the last day of school. You go out there and you just give your best, give your all. And then after that, that you'll have a lot of time to rest. So, we just got to use all the energy that we have right now. We got to put it in this game. I mean, it was good, especially early in my career. Didn't know what to expect, never knew what the Game 7 felt like. But, just the nervousness and all the stuff that you felt before a game like that, I mean, I felt like, I felt that before. And then just got to approach it like any other game and, go out there and play your best and then, live with the results. But, it was good for me early in my career.
Qu'est-ce que tu t'entends du dernier match de la saison? J'ai entendu beaucoup de joueurs dire que ça va pas être
c'est sûr que ça va être une guerre. On va tout essayer pour gagner le match. C'est sûr que ça va être physique. Mais comme je dis, si on joue bien en équipe, puis on va être vraiment dur à battre.
Est-ce que vous avez vécu contre Denver un match comme ça peut vous aider dans ce match-là où les deux équipes sont tellement différentes, les Blazers et les Nuggets, que c'est pas du tout pareil?
Ouais, mais les équipes sont différentes, c'est sûr. Mais juste le feeling qu'on a avant le match, comment on est nerveux, puis comment on se sent, ça peut être on est habitué à ce feeling-là déjà. Alors, ça peut aider. Mais le fait que c'est une équipe différente, on ne sait jamais qu'est-ce qui va se passer.
They put a really heavy emphasis on conditioning. I'm wondering, does that come through for you at all on the other side? Is that something that's noticeable through their pace of play or through anything else?
I mean, it's I would say it goes for both teams. I mean, I would say we both two good conditioned team. I mean, we play really hard defensively and offensively, and that takes a lot of energy. But we prepare for that. We two teams that work hard, obviously, to get to this point, and then we won't put anything on. We won't use conditioning as an excuse. You got to go out there and play your best, and then if you're on the floor, you give your all, and yeah.
And then in terms of the way they play offensively, they put a really strong emphasis on getting the ball across half court at 21 seconds. And even when they're not breaking, like they want to get across half court in 21 seconds, get into an action really early. Does that change the way that you guys defend when an offense puts that much emphasis in getting into its actions, even in the half court early? Does it change anything about how you guys try to set up in terms of communication or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, it's a team that plays with a lot of pace. They've been doing that all year, so I don't think it's nothing new, especially for us. And then it's some of the stuff that we have to adjust. But playing them that many times now, we kind of know what's coming. But yeah, it's them. That's how they play. And they play really fast. And then on our side, we just gotta make sure we back and we communicate well.
Thanks, guys. How you living this childhood dream, the NBA finals, all the way to the end, and the emotions, the glory?
Yeah, the finals, just like any playoff series that we've been through so far, there's a lot of ups and downs. It's the end of the world when you lose, and it's like the greatest moment of your life when you win every time. But you kind of have to take the emotions out of it, even though it's everything you dreamed of, and you just have to try and do what you can to continue to prepare how you've prepared all year to, put yourself in the best chance to win each game.
And now getting to win 7, it's an opportunity that not every player that's in the finals gets. How much even more special does it make it?
You know, it's all special. You know, every game all the way through. You know, when you're in the moment of it, it's hard to kind of grasp it, but you know, thinking all the way back to the first game we played this year and how long ago that was, and now, you know, we're gonna play the last game of the season tomorrow. You know, it's crazy to think about, but we kind of have to put all our focus on just preparing, being our best.
And what do you expect from this matchup? I heard Terry say it's not gonna be a pretty game to watch.
You know, I expect Indiana to bring their best. You know, I expect us to bring our best, and you know, we're gonna see what happens when we both do that.
How have the physical and mental demands of this series kind of changed your approach to this upcoming game?
I wouldn't say it changes the approach so much as just, you know, you have to put yourself in the mental space to kind of fight that feeling that you get when you get fatigued and your body's telling you, you know, you're tired, this and that, and you just kind of have to push through all that. You know, just like you try to do all year long, but you know, there's been a lot of games to get to this point, long playoff runs, so you just kind of have to put all that to the back of your mind and focus on just making a play.
What needs to be corrected from Game 6?
Few X's and O's things, tactical things that you know, we could do better, execute better, both ends of the floor, and then also just simply, you know, there's some plays that, you know, the X's and O's don't matter if you don't just you know, want to make a play. Either you're gonna make a play or you're gonna watch the play be made, and you know, I feel like we watched a lot of plays be made in Game 6, so we gotta turn that around.
How fortunate do you feel to be in this position, given where you were in November, given that injury that you overcame? You got a chance to end it right.
Yeah. Obviously, this is an opportunity that isn't guaranteed. You know, you can't take it for granted, but I wouldn't say the word fortunate is the right word for that. You know, there's been a lot of work put in by everybody in this organization to help us get to this point. You know, and it wasn't by accident. But you know, there's obviously a lot of grace that's happened as well to help us get here, and you know, we're fortunate for that. But at the end of the day, we believe in the work that we've put in and why we got here, and you know, we're going to continue with that all the way through.
Chet, do you have any lucky charms for Case Game 7 especially?
I wouldn't say so. No, I'm not very superstitious.
No.
Are you getting to enjoy yourself living this dream, or the stress and pressure to have?
I would say, you know, I'm enjoying it all. I always enjoy it. I wouldn't say I enjoyed the injuries, but other than that, I pretty much enjoyed the whole ride. It's a beautiful thing. The easy parts, the hard parts, the good parts, the bad parts. It's all part of it. You know, I'd say I enjoy it all.
After Game 6, you know, kind of begun the process mentally that no matter what the season is tomorrow, not letting the weight of the game like that tomorrow.
Keep it otherwise. I'd say just focusing on what we can control and what we can focus on. We can control how we prepare, what we do to put ourselves in the best chance to win the game, and focus on that, and not, you know, focus on anything other than that, anything that doesn't kind of matter towards trying to win.
Chet, after Game 6, you talk about pretty much about putting it their performance in Game 7. What from Game 6, or that one or maybe two key adjustments, do you think will allow you to have a much better bounce back performance in Game 7?
You guys will see that tomorrow. One of all tips.
Chet, I wonder, these last 2 months, as you guys have gone through the journey, what are your viewing habits, or what have they been for the rest of the players? Like, the fans of these playoffs have been wild, tons of surprises, and obviously just beginning to end the type of stuff that has got riveted. But like, when you're in it, how much did you watch of the other action, and is there a moment or a game that shot to you and then you're
like other games from other series?
Correct.
Did you have bandwidth to? I mean, I definitely watched a lot of the games. knowing that, you could end up playing this team in this round, and you know what I mean. You kind of try to tune in as much as you can, have some grasp of it. I wouldn't say I watched every single game, but there were a lot of good ones from both conferences. I wouldn't say the one specific game.
Chip,
Okay,
you get six
couple more, guys.
days
Okay.
to face the Pacers. What have you learned about that team?
They're well coached. They're really good players. And no matter what they're tasked with doing out there, whatever Coach Carlisle gives them, they really leave it all out there. They don't quit. They bring it every single night, and I'd expect no different tomorrow.
When you have a game that doesn't quite go the way you want it to, are you a guy that like obsesses, immediately goes to film, starts putting shots up, or are you a guy that just kind of moves on from it? Combinations of the two.
I'd say there has to be a combination. You can't obsess over it to the point where it has a negative effect, but you also can't just completely detach from it to the point where you don't care about it. I'd definitely say I do everything I can, good or bad, win or loss. I do everything I can to be better and improve after each game. That doesn't guarantee anything, but that's kind of just the process that I've always had, and continue to kind of work like that.
Thank you, Chet. Thank you.
Game 7 Sunday, though, that no matter what season is over.
I think from a perspective standpoint, I think we're kind of seeing this game as a privilege. I think pressure in general is a privilege. We all grow up, we all want to play in these kind of games. That's what you work your whole life for. And so, yeah, that's how kind of we're looking at it as a privilege, and we're going to go into it confident.
Also ihr habt 57 Spiele in der Regular Season mit ganzen Playoffs jetzt bis zu Game 7. Wie fühlt sich das an? Wie fühlt sich dein Körper an? Bist du arg überrascht? Sag ich mal, was der Körper alles mitmachen kann.
Mal klar, ich glaube, jeder hier, sein Körper fühlt sich nicht 100% an. Aber es ist egal, du musst jetzt einfach rausgehen und dann alles geben und einfach von da aus gut.
Dass du in dem Spiel 7 dabei bist, das ist ja ein Kindheitstraum. Grundsätzlich NBA Finals, Spiel 7, du bist dabei. Kannst du das Gefühl mal ein bisschen beschreiben? So von einer bisschen größeren Perspektive?
Ich glaube, man wächst damit immer auf. Ich glaube, man ist draußen, spielt man mit an seinen Korb und dann träumt man immer Game 7 einfach da zu spielen, einfach diese große Spiele zu spielen. Und ja, ich meine, für mich selber versuche ich halt meine Emotionen ein bisschen gleich zu bleiben. Einfach nicht so hoch und nicht so tief. Aber klar, im Hintergrund ist es halt eine große Gelegenheit für mich und meine Mitspieler einfach bei so einem großen Spiel mitzuspielen.
Also even when they're not necessarily
on a break, they really make an effort to try to get the ball across the court at 21-17 off, just so they can get into an action or something. How does that affect, not even necessarily how you guys are funding transition, but how does that affect how you guys have done this return work?
I think from that standpoint, I mean, they're a great running team. I think we know it coming into the series. A lot of it is also what we do. I think last game, we didn't play our brand of basketball. We didn't play our brand of defense. We just let them be comfortable. And so I think it's a mix of things. I mean, they do a great job of never changing the way they play. And so they get out, they run. But it's just our job to get back to playing our style of defense and going from there.
What moments from earlier in your career do you think helped prepare you for this Game 7?
I think AC said it last Game 7. I think my whole career's kind of been a Game 7. I mean, I think, as weird as it sounds, I might have been more nervous going into training camp when I was on a training camp deal than now. I mean, that was where I was fighting low-key for my career. And so I think just those moments where you don't understand it at the time kind of helps you now kind of navigate what I'm going through right now.
Did you envision this right now when you signed the team last summer?
It was a goal. I mean, it was definitely a goal. I mean, you never know what can happen. You try to do everything you can to get to this moment, and we have a privilege to be in this moment, and we're ready to go.
In Deutschland, because
Do you do any different theme? I mean, since Thursday to tonight, or same routine? If you
Same routine. I mean, it's nothing you change. The only thing you can really change is you watch the film, you see what you did wrong, and I think just watching what we did wrong, it's all controllable stuff.
What about-
And we'll see tomorrow. You'll see tomorrow.
what about the cook of the cool? I mean, not only with the team, I'm doing yourself, but calm on.
Not really much. I mean, I think you try to keep your routine. It's the same. We do a good job of not getting too high or getting too low. And so I think when you start trying to change too much, that's kind of when you get out of who you are as a person
in Deutschland sind die Leute ein bisschen verwundert über die Einschaltquoten hier, dass die so niedrig sind.
Ja.
Was ist dein Erklärungsansatz dafür und stört dich das?
Ist ein bisschen von beiden. Ich glaube, jetzt sind wir halt allgemein, überall sind die Einschaltquoten bei alles ist unten. Ich meine, ich glaube jetzt, wie einfach Medien heute da ist, ich meine, so viel ist jetzt TikTok, einfach nur wollen einfach Leute diese schnelle Sachen sehen. Ich meine, vieles davon gucken die jetzt einfach bei irgendeinem so anderen geheimen Sender, was nicht aufgetaucht ist. Aber ich glaube, Adam Silver ist gut erklärt, dass von was die normalen Einschaltquoten sind, was jetzt überall beim Fernsehen ist, sind wir auch immer noch einer von den höchsten. Also muss man jetzt auch nicht nur auf die Zahlen gucken, aber auch wie jetzt wirklich alle Leute jetzt Fernseher schauen oder jetzt haben die jetzt alle Streaming-Sachen und
In Deutschland läuft auch eine Finalserie. Wie investiert bist du da und wie siehst du es?
ja, bin beide investiere ich mal, klar ist jetzt hier immer Nummer 1 und versuche ich hier immer da zu bleiben, aber es war halt ein bisschen schade, dass wir das halt mit den NBA-Spielern nicht ändern können. Ich glaube, für BBL wäre es am besten gewesen, wenn man halt diese NBA-Talente hat. Und ja, ist halt schade, aber wir wollen jetzt auch da keine Excuses machen. Wir wollen einfach jetzt auch da am besten draus was machen. Aber erstmal bin ich hier fokussiert und dann geht's Full Fokus auf Olymp auf jeden Fall.
Aber du schaust das nächste Jahr das gleiche an, oder?
Ja, versuche ich. Wenn ich noch bei Behandlung bin, versuche ich auch ein bisschen zu schauen. Aber
In what ways can all this help you out tomorrow night?
really key. I think they've been amazing all playoffs, and I think they'll really give us like a push to just keep going. Again, they give us so much energy. I think that's kind of when our defense gets to another level, and I think that's when our energy gets to another level. And so we're excited to see them again, and we're excited to play in front of them.
As you go into Game 7, who are you reaching out to for advice, and what advice are they saying to you?
And again, I don't try to change much. I mean, I talk a lot to my dad. I'll like text him before the game, and we just kind of go through. Sometimes we just talk. Sometimes we go through like what I'm thinking at the time, and then yeah, but it's always mostly my dad.
Has there been anything that he's like said that's really stuck to you?
I mean, the thing that he always said at the end is go have fun. I think that's the biggest thing. I think just going out there. I mean, you go out there with a certain intensity. You go out there, but at the end of the day, just try to go out there and have fun, and so you don't get too tensed up.
Denkst du manchmal,
Hat sich Dirk schon bei dir gemeldet?
denkst du da manchmal drüber nach, dass du eventuell in der Zeit die Deutsche nachdenken willst sein könntest? Oder ist das was du komplett an die Seite legst und dem versuchst keine Aufmerksamkeit zu schenken, weil das den Deutschen scheinbar ja irgendwie wichtig ist?
Ich glaube, es ist auf jeden Fall was Gutes. Ich glaube, am Ende des Tages ist es eine Ehre, halt irgendwie mit Dirk in einem Satz zu sein. Ich meine, klar werde ich jetzt nicht sagen, dass ich Dirk Nowitzki bin. Ich meine, der ist einer von den Besten, nicht nur aus Deutschland, aber einer der Besten aller Zeiten. Und ja, ich glaube, für mich ist es mehr was für Deutschland, wieder einen Titel zu holen, aber Dirk war Dirk am Ende des Tages. Also ich glaube, man wird immer dieses Dergleichen haben, aber für mich ist Dirk der beste Europäer aller Zeiten. Und ja, es ist schwer, das zu vergleichen.
Hat er sich schon gemeldet?
Ne.
Aber komm noch, wenn du gewinnst.
Wir sehen.
Thank you.
want to talk a little bit about how you're feeling going into Game 7 back in Oklahoma City? It's got to be. What's the feeling like knowing that this is kind of a ride or die moment?
Excited, ready to get out there. Yeah, we know we gotta. This is when to go home. You know, this is for all the marbles. So we're gonna have a lot of intensity, and just ready to get out there and play.
Throughout the playoffs, you guys have been stronger at home. I mean, obviously you've got the crowd, but what is it that brings that out of you here? You see a little less of on the field.
The crowd, that they work in our favor. They're rowdy and they're into the game, and that gives us a boost and an edge.
What's it going to take to close the door on Indiana?
Being focused the whole game, playing with intensity, competing together. Things that we preach every day. Got to be super sharp on. Yeah, we all are. I mean, we got to win the possessions. We know that's how you win a game. You got to stack good possessions, and if you do that, you have a higher chance of winning.
What stood out to you about the way in which the Pacers altered their defense and kind of prevented you guys from the paint and getting downhill like you were so effective in Game 5?
Yeah, they backed up their pickup point, but we haven't seen that from them this series, and it startled us a little bit, but we've seen it. We're going to fix it, and we just got to go out there and execute it better next game.
What was the film session like, given how big of a loss that was? Was it pretty normal, or was it kind of animated more than usual?
Nah, we touched on the things that, gave us problems, looked at it, was truthful about it, and, came out in practice and executed and adjusted those things.
To think that we're at Game 7 this far down the road, thinking about your postseason and how it's evolved, and you've knocked down some of these other amazing teams. How are you feeling going into this? I mean, have you had a chance to rest, catch your breath? Are you healthy? Mentally, physically, how do you feel?
I'm very confident going into this next game. Been through ups and downs throughout the whole playoffs, and that's what builds confidence, honestly. And, from last year, being out early, and then coming this year and, playing the last game of the season is a blessing,
Have you had a chance to sleep at all?
Definitely. I mean, we have 2 days before every game, so I'm able to get my rest and recovery in.
Cason, everybody talks about how unpredictable Game 7s are. You got to forget about statistics, got to forget about all the past games. How much of that do you think is true? Do you carry on a momentum to Game 7, or anything can happen?
The best team is going to win. That's really what it comes down to. Whoever plays the best that day is going to leave with the trophy.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks for this group collectively. What's just been kind of the mindset, the mentality after that Game 6 heading into this Game 7?
Obviously watching film and, figuring out where we could improve, but Game 7, last game of the season, leaving it all on the line, going out there just kind of doing whatever it takes, figuring things out to put ourselves in a position to win and close out the season on a high note. So.
Coach Mark, after Game 6, said a lot of it was offensively for you guys in terms of tangible takeaways, things to improve on going into Game 7. What offensively do you feel like you guys would want to improve on there?
We just got to do a better job, just kind of spacing and being available for each other, making the game easy for each other so that as a team we can get better looks and kind of better opportunities to, score the ball. It was just a little bit kind of congested in our half-court offense, and that's when everybody just kind of be, better in terms of availability and creating opportunities for, us to make the game easy.
How do you compartmentalize the fact that this is the last game of the season, the last possible game of the season, but you guys have that even kill mentality, the 0-0, but also you can win a championship on the other end and control that anxiousness?
Yeah, I think our biggest focus is to first get prepared and focused for the game. You got to go out there and take care of business before you can think about, obviously, anything after, the game. So obviously you're playing for the highest stakes, but to do that, you've got to kind of take care of the game first. So we've got to just make sure we're focused on the game from the jump, put ourselves in position to win, and then you do what comes with whatever, the result of the game is. So,
are the nerves different from going into this game than going into game one?
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't had nerves in a long time, so my nerves, I think, are pretty settled. But obviously, high stakes game, so the anticipation, the excitement behind it exists. But as a team, collectively, I think we're in a good spot mentally, and we understand that we got to do whatever it takes to go out there and win a game tomorrow.
You mentioned not having nerves in a long time. Do you remember the last time you did?
I want to say like my first game in the NBA was the first time I could remember having nerves and maybe being anxious mentally and stuff. But you anticipate every game, you're motivated every game, but I don't know, you kind of get adapted and used to the NBA. Obviously the finals and playing a Game 7 in the finals is a different level, but at least the nerves haven't set in yet, so we'll see.
How would you say Game 7 against the Nuggets prepared you guys for Game 7 in the finals, or that's like a total different case?
Yeah, no, I think there's things you could take from there. Obviously, situation where win or go home, lose or go home. So tomorrow's going to be, regardless, you're done. So kind of having that in mind, you're going to go out there, you're going to leave it all on the floor. And for us, the Denver series, I think, is similar to this one, where we're coming off a Game 6 loss, and things look different, obviously, on this stage. But our ability to respond is going to be something that is obviously tested tomorrow. And like I said, win or go home. So you want to be on the good end of that.
What was it that made your nerves go away? Like not having nerves going into game?
I think kind of building a routine, knowing what to expect, and understanding that on the court, things aren't always going to go your way. Everything's not going to be perfect. So being able to just kind of find a balance of, controlling what you can, but also putting forth your best effort. But the routine has kind of just allowed for me to know what to expect leading up to games. And the only thing that, you don't know how things may swing is in the basketball game. So just that preparation and consistency there has allowed me to kind of find, comfortability and consistency, going into every game.
Wait, so I was getting shots of fans and reactions, and I happened to catch your dad reacting to your shot. And so it was an incredible thing. So obviously the fans are here to support, but to have familiar faces, to have your family in the stands,
Yeah.
have been there since
Yeah.
forever. How does that feel?
One, I need to see that clip, please. But I mean, it's awesome. Having my family here, having people who have, supported me up to this point and been kind of, a backbone for me. It's amazing to kind of share this experience with them and be able to kind of, celebrate, the success that we've seen up to this point. So it's nothing I take for granted, having, that kind of foundation and family, and being able to kind of, know that they've always been my support, fail, win, succeed, regardless of the outcome. So to be able to just kind of share this experience with them has been awesome.
Are you ready for Sunday basketball in front of the home crowd?
One last chance this season, so look forward to putting forth my best effort to save basketball.
Just along those lines, if you do have to play a Game 7, how valuable is it for this group to be able to do that here?
Yeah, I mean, awesome. Throughout the season, I think back to just the season that we had, very dominant season. Put ourselves in the position to kind of have home court advantage for regardless of what series it is, and to be in this point where you're in the finals, last game of the season, and we have home court advantage. We earned that, and it's not luck that we got that. So it's just kind of a reminder for us to know who we are and who we've been all season. That we earned the opportunity to be in front of our home crowd for the Game 7, and we know the crowd is going to bring that extreme fun environment, and they're going to be electric. And I mean, everybody's just kind of looking forward to it.
Describe the emotions that go with living this dream, the NBA Finals, and now this ride has been for you so far.
Yeah, try to keep my emotions out of it. Just kind of stay focused on game-to-game, basis. Obviously, a lot of high and low emotions coming off wins and losses. But the ability to kind of maintain a certain level of balance and keep yourself from falling into a deep dive or going extremely high on a roller coaster just allows you to kind of be prepped for the next game. So to have played as many games as we played in this series and in the playoffs alone, it kind of allows our team just to be prepped and ready and comfortable going into each game. So look forward to going into Game 7. Obviously, emotions can be high, but try to keep mentally away from them.
And including yourself, who's the person you have to thank the most? What made this all possible?
Including myself? I mean, my parents. My parents sacrificed a lot growing up. High school, even before then, but high school specifically just put me in a position, transferring schools to be able to, chase my dream and be here today. So super grateful for them, their support, and their willingness just to kind of do whatever it took to put me in a position to, live out my dream. So.
And how did you make this all happen?
Just hard work, dedication, and not being afraid to fail. So.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Been kind of the collective mentality of this group coming out of that Game 6 heading into this Game 7?
Yeah, obviously we've been in a Game 7 before. We understand that in going in tomorrow's game, we have to, be more of a team-oriented mindset out there on the floor, defensively and offensively. We have to be the more aggressive team for 48 minutes, the more together, the faster team, just a more complete team. And we believe that will result, in our favor. But we just have to, string together each possession for all 48 minutes.
Mark mentioned that it was kind of offensively for you guys where you weren't able to really generate good looks throughout the night. What are some of the key takeaways and so that you guys are able to get good looks in Game 7 there?
Yeah, we saw the way that they were playing us and, watched a lot of film on that. I have to have better movement, more early passing. I think there was a point in the game where we had I think it might have been at halftime, we had 10 or 11 turnovers and 3 assists or something like that. So we definitely have to trust each other when we're out there. And I think, the ball has energy. And whenever everybody's rolling, it makes us a tougher monster to beat.
What stood out to you about the way they changed things up and were attacking after half court and really prevented you guys from getting downhill like you were so effective the previous game?
Yeah, they did a really good job of being in the shell spots. I mean, they were tight in their loads and they, guarded well with all 5 players. They scrambled to the best of their ability, but I think it started with, they're just tight in the paint and tried to take that away first and make us put on the outside.
Obviously, the biggest basketball game of your career, I would assume at this point, obviously. Just how do you prepare mentally, or how are you preparing mentally, over the last 24, 48 hours?
Just like any other game, honestly. We know when we're in between the lines, it's the same basketball game that we played all season. Obviously, we know what's at stake here. We have an opportunity to play for a championship in the last possible game there is in the season. But prepare the same way we've always prepared, the ways that got us here in the first place.
How do you compartmentalize that with also realizing you can win a championship and not get too antsy, not try and get out of the system and everything?
Yeah, I think it's when we can realize that just being who we are, not getting too caught up in what comes with the win, just getting the win, but that just comes with staying present, not looking too far in the future. Like I said a second ago, attacking each possession at a time, and just being in the moment, being for each other, and everything else will play out.
How do the nerves compare to the nerves of Game 1?
I don't know if there's any more nerves than there would normally be. I think there's just maybe a tad bit more anticipation. Honestly, obviously it's the last game in the season, and we know what we're playing for, and so we're ready to go out there and just give it our all and put everything out on the line. There's nothing else after this game, so we just got to leave it all out there.
Isaiah, since you do have to play a Game 7, how nice is it that you get to play it in your home arena? How much does that help you guys as a group?
I mean, the energy that the crowd gives off each and every night is amazing. I believe we have the best fans out there. They're with us through wins and losses. No matter what we're going through, they're always behind us. And just being able to have this opportunity to have this moment with not only the team and our families, to have this moment with the fans in here is gonna be great.
You're expecting the best crowd you've ever seen here?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
On a totally random note, do you have any good stories about Donnie Strack and what he means to this team? He's got his start in the NBA as a Pacers ball player back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that's really good with this team is everybody, from Donnie to the players to, front office and all that, we're all connected, and we've leaned on each other all season, no matter what we're going through, no matter the position. Everybody's really close-knit. It's really a family, and he's played a big part in that, up to this point. And so just continuing to, grow in that way, it's been our journey, and it's been good.
Isaiah, last Game 7 in the finals was 9 years ago, 2016. Do you remember where you were at that moment, like watching the game? Do you remember that?
9 years ago in 2016, I can't say that I remember exactly where I was and what I was.
You watched the game, right? Probably.
Cavs and Warriors, Game 7. I don't know. I watched the game. I can't. That's so far back. I don't know exactly where I was. I mean, obviously I know like the intensity that was played in that game, and the emotions, and not only that the players have, but like everybody watching. Me, the fans, and just who's gonna win, who's gonna come out on top. I remember it as far as that much, but exactly like where I was, what I was doing.
How special is for you to now be at the Game 7 historically?
I mean, it's a dream. It's a dream come true. Being in this position, having the opportunity to compete for a championship, it's kind of like it's one of those experiences that we're here and we deserve to be here. So it's not probably hitting as hard as it will later in life, but having this opportunity to go out there and do it, for each and every guy on the team, our families, and just trying to create the greatest memory possible is it's a blessing.
How do you balance the just another game and this is everything we've worked for, one game to accomplish that?
Understanding that when we're out there, it's the same game. Trying to stay level-headed through it all, no matter whether we win or lose. We're always trying to compete and get better. And I think we have the group of guys that does a really good job of staying balanced. As far as understanding what's at stake, but still playing the same game.
Were you on the golf course last time in 2016?
Probably. Actually, I was in high school. 2016. I was probably getting ready for my last year in AAU. Yeah.
Was it a good season?
Yeah. Great season.
You talk about trust. What do you think of Coach Mark's leadership, communication, team building to gain buy-in from you guys?
Yeah, he's a hell of a coach. He understands the connectivity that we have to have, not only between the players, but with him out there. He's a great leader. He tries to do the right thing at all times. He's a player coach, so he really tries to relate to us and everything that he teaches or preaches to us. And he understands what we have here, the players that we have, and how to get us going and put us in the right position to be successful.
Last question for Isaiah. Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.